Tachibana.
And I'm Shenita McQueen, and today is my last video, but I get to interview Sumie for you future interns and other college students that plan on going into fashion design. Alright, so first question, Sumie, what is your title and job description?
My title is CEO and founder of Sumie Tachibana, and basically what I do is pretty much handle everything, all aspects of my company.
And within a typical day, what are your job duties?
It really depends on what part of the season I'm in. Sometimes a whole week can be just going back and forth on email with different people, photographers, stylists, and even like possible boutiques. And at other times I'm just designing all day.
Okay, and for the interns that you have coming, what would be their typical job tasks?
For fashion design students, a lot of it is very hands-on, and you will be designing, sketching, designing, and working with fabrics, and actually creating the pieces, and just a lot of training, doing that. And for sales and marketing interns, it's a lot of computer work, also helping produce photo shoots, and also creating relationships or continuing relationships with stylists and photographers and whatnot. And also designing the banners and keeping up with social media.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like a lot of jobs within each department in for you. Is any formal education required for your position?
I don't think anything is required per se,
mm-hmm.
but definitely you should, it would help you become more successful, or have a better chance of becoming more successful if you have, of course, a bachelor's degree. It definitely is a bonus if you have a business background or a fashion design background of some sorts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and again, for your interns, what do you expect them to have as far as education?
Usually, like students that are already in college and they're just on the cusp of graduating, they have just enough skills so that they could do what I need them to do, but also they have one more year, so if they work with me and I kind of mentor them and improve their skills, it will help them their senior year, especially like for a designer, it helps them with their senior projects, and then for sales and marketing interns, their portfolio will be much bigger, and I think it'll be easier their senior year in college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely know from my experience here that I have a great resume to bring back for my final year. Directly related to your job, is there any experience that you need beforehand, or can you just jump right into becoming an independent fashion designer?
Well, again, nothing is required, but for skills, I mean, obviously if you have a fashion design background, it'll be a heck of a lot easier to get that started, and anything within the industry will help.
Okay, and for our viewers, what are 5 human relation skills that you would need?
Okay, so the 5, I would say being able to direct orders and effectively communicate with your interns or your employees. That's really important. Also, being able to negotiate prices with other vendors, or negotiating prices with boutiques and other clients. I think having a strong decision-making skill. You have to be able to make the decision and follow through with it effectively. Otherwise, the success of your business can drastically, change for the better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
Also, being able to, I think this is very important, being able to be encouraging and also inspiring to, your interns or people that are working for you. You have to, and this relates to the 5th one, you have to represent yourself as a role model, so people can look up to you, and you, by being a better person in business and in personal, I think makes other people see that, and it creates a better positive atmosphere in the work environment.
Okay, great insight on that, and as well as technical skills.
So for technical skills, it's very, like, you know, if you're doing more like multitasking, such as myself, I have to do many different jobs. Definitely you have to have strong computer skills, especially in this day and age where computers, you know, online is everything. Being able to use not only the Microsoft Office and the more, you know, business aspect of this, you know, of having a company, I think knowing Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom, some of the more creative programs, it would definitely help. Number two, you gotta learn your math. You know, you use math every day, and not only in the design department when you're doing pattern making and, you know, having some technical fit issues. You also use it for Excel and your bookkeeping and accounting. So math is very big. Design skills, of course, number three. You have to understand, not that you will be doing it necessarily, in my case I do, but understanding sewing and understanding pattern making. And if you're not the one doing it, you have to be able to execute the proper directions for people to do it for you. And you could only do that if you know, if you have a knowledge of it. Number four, illustration. I think, you know, you don't have to be an artist, but you have to be able to draw well enough, whether it's computer or freehand, to instruct, again, like whoever's doing the designs for you, or, you know, if you're doing it yourself or if you're giving it to clients, you need to be able to explain your designs to them. Otherwise you don't make anything. And number five, I think the knowledge of, just general knowledge of like the cost of how much everything is. You know, your materials, the fabrics, trims, how much does that cost? Also the cost of production. So you really have to weigh, like, depending on the market that you're aiming for, you have a certain cost that you have to, you can't go over. Otherwise you're not targeting the right audience or right customers.
With working in a company, you obviously get benefits for like paid vacation and things like that. What would you say benefits are with being an independent designer?
It would be that you are your own boss, you create your own hours, and you can basically not answer, per se, you don't have to answer to anybody, really, except your customers. You should listen to them.
Is there a way for the government to help you get like health insurance and things like that?
Health insurance is very difficult. When I was working corporate, it was, I think, about $40 to $80 a month, and it's taken out of your payroll. And now it's about $700 a month.
Wow.
Working for yourself. So, you know, just to give you an example, in New York it's about that much. It's very difficult. And then you have a lot more overhead having your own business. Yeah.
So would you say it weighs itself out, really? The benefits of being your own boss is worth it?
If that's what is worth to you, you know, if that is an important factor to, then for sure. Okay.
So you talked about how long you work throughout the day and everything. What would be your typical hours?
Officially, it's between 10 to 6 p.m. However, depending on the time of year and the workload, it could be 7 days a week. It could, you know, last up to 10 o'clock. Apologies for the lawn mowing, it's quite loud.
Is there any physical exertion that goes on with this? Is it just sitting at a sewing machine sewing all day and sitting at a computer, or is there a lot more involved?
You know, I have to wear many different hats. So I could be from the computer 2 hours to sewing to pattern making to, you know, meeting with clients, going to locations, buying fabric. So there's a lot of movement for sure. It's not like your typical office where you come in, sit down, you know, the only time you move is your lunch break or the bathroom. It's not like that at all.
And how much stress would you say you're under doing all of that?
Incredible amount of stress. It's worth it to me because it's a stress caused by something that I believe in, and I want to do better, and I feel good when things are accomplished.
Okay. Within the fashion industry, would you say it's cooperative, competitive, or vindictive?
I would think it's more on the competitive side. I think that a lot of people, a lot of designers, you know, it's just oversaturated. So there's a lot of people trying to do the same thing or similar things. In that way, it's very competitive.
So being an independent fashion designer, what caused you to even decide to do that? Because at one time you were working in corporate.
Well, I'm a creative, and it was a no-brainer for me as far as, you know, it's a way to express myself, and it's a creative outlet, and it's something positive. It's a positive way for me to exert my energy.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was a no-brainer. Like, I had to do it. There's nothing else I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a great answer. So what is a typical line of progression for the interns that want to work with you in the future? What would you say, or how would they progress within your company?
For me personally, it would depend on how successful they are working for me,
Mm-hmm.
And also how well I'm doing in my company. I would say they would start from an intern. They would go into assistant, which they'll pretty much be doing what they've been doing as an intern, because my interns are, you know, they work very hard. I pretty much train you to become an assistant
Mm-hmm.
of whatever field that you're doing. And, you know, from there on you become a manager, and then director, and vice president, then president. This is all, you know, depending on how successful my company is, but even across the board in other design companies, that's how it usually works.
Mm-hmm. So, say your company is as big as it can get, what would you say the average time rate would be for the promotions?
I think on average, I've seen, you know, people move up in a year, but sometimes 2 years, sometimes 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it also depends on if someone's higher up. You know, if they leave, then that position gets, if you're ready for it, the person under you is ready for it, then they'll get immediately stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't think they're ready for it, they'll bring in someone new, which, you know, causes drama, but that's the way it works.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that interview, and thank you for an amazing summer here with this internship.
You're welcome. You're going to be truly missed. She is my first sales and marketing intern, and definitely she's going to be a very tough one to be replaced. So thank you so much, Shenita. You were awesome.
Thank you, and I hope you all had a great insight onto what Sumie Tachibana's business is all about. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you, and stay tuned for next week.